Hello, hello dear friends. How are you, everyone? Gonna wait a few seconds before we start. So until then, I'm going to welcome everyone on this wonderful day to join us on this live session. And I'm introducing here Michel for you from Canada. He's a world citizen, and I hope that you read all his resume. And here comes the live session, my dogs. So Michel is a coach since the last 56 years. So give me just a second.
The dog is the first to chat with us.
So I'm back, everyone. Sorry. So welcome everyone on this wonderful session. Of course, live session always happens some stuff in here. We have 4 dogs, so stuff always happen like that. So first of all is welcome you, Michel, here. And you've been a coach for 56 years, more than 56 years, right?
Yeah.
You've been a coach like I knew Tony Robbins. You've been already coach. So there are no other life coaches who is that age, because you are 73 now. God bless you on that. And working with athletes, making Olympic champions since 1962. I know that this world who is watching here on my Facebook had never met anyone who produced Olympic champion from that back then. So, and you contributed for no man so-called athletes to become Olympic champions. Then you crossed over to the corporate arena for employee training and the management training. And you had a very special approach back then, which you've been using all through these years to create excellence. And you remained with these values. And ever since, you are creating success and excellence through that. So welcome you, Michel, over to you. Share us a little bit on your excellence. What are the points of those? Please share it with us.
Well, it started a long time ago, very young. I've been raised on a farm, dairy cow farm. I come from a small village of 300 something people in the middle of nowhere in Quebec, Canada. And as a kid, I was always, very adventurous. And I remember going up to the attic, in the house of my grandfather. And there was a small window where I could see the other side of the valley where the farm of my grandfather was. The farm was quite a big land. And I always dreamed one day I'll see what's on the other side of the hill. And I remember at 5 years old with my dog, I went on an adventure. And I went up to the end of the land, which was a 1 mile long, going down to a valley, crossing a river. And I finally discovered what was on the other side of the land. And all my life, I've been like this. I always wanted to go where I've never been. And this is what brought me to a lot of discovery. Naturally, when I was young, I moved to Montreal City at the age of 10 years old. And I was introduced young to sports. I was in a summer recreation program. And one day they organized events. So it was a lot of kids. And then they say, all the children 10 years old come here. So I went there and we had the first race. And I never had competition before. The only thing I was racing when I was young was cows and chicken. So now in the city, there was hundreds of kids in line. And then somebody whistled. And then everybody started running like crazy. And I started running. And at the end, there were people. And I think it was a game. They were trying to catch you. I was trying to escape. But in the one, somebody catch me. And I discovered after that I won a race. Then they took my name, and one day I received a phone call to tell me tomorrow morning, you come at 8 o'clock, bring a lunch. You're going to eat where we're going. So It was where we were going to the Montreal Olympiad Games for children.
Wow.
And when I arrived there, they give me a T-shirt. I was so proud. They give me a T-shirt. And then we had an opening ceremony. So the city of Montreal was divided in district, and each district have different colors. So I was walking in a parade and everything like that with flag, with music. And of course, the country boy was completely in another world. And then I was called in for an event. I was put in a relay team. And then one guy told me, you are here, somebody will come. He has a stick in his hand. You will have to take it, and you have to run and pass the stick to another guy. So I was in a relay, and then when the stick came in, I run like a nuts, and I give the stick to the other one. And we won the gold medal. But it was not a medal. We got a trophy.
A trophy.
Which I still have here, a small trophy. And it was my first time that I was discovering what competition was all about. And I received that trophy with my team from the mayor of Montreal at the time, the mayor Jean Drapeau, who became the main guy who contributed to Montreal hosting in 1976 the Olympic Games.
Olympic Games.
Amazing. And it changed my life completely. After that day, I started reading everything I could about the Olympic, and I started dreaming about the Olympic. So I became very based on modeling myself on these Olympic champion. I was dreaming to be an Olympic champion. I was dreaming going to the Olympic, and I was 10 years old. And for me, this was a major breakthrough. And unfortunately for me, I'm a short guy, and now I'm shorter because I have no leg. So I always competed with guys taller than me. Everywhere when I went to school, I was the shortest. In my time, it was, girls and boys line up, and I was always in front with the girls because I was the shortest in the class among the boys.
But it never meant anything, any loss for you to be up in the front, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I've learned one thing, and what's important in life is to be number one. And I was number one always. Size gave me number one in position, number one in the class and everything. So anyway, so it guided me for a long time. It was modeling about dreaming about things. And finally, things happened when I entered university. As my family was not rich, I had to get a part-time job to pay for my university. And the job I got was to coaching kids in track and field. And unfortunately for me, I was lucky. I had the good kids. So my kids in a matter of 3 months became champion in the city of Montreal. And I started registering them in provincial championship. And unfortunately for me, again, they were too good. We were becoming provincial champion, record holder, and everything like this. And for me, it was just, a student job. And of course, it led from these 1967 time and from, just doing it for fun, for part-time job, it became serious. They became a provincial athlete. They represented Quebec in the Canada game. And eventually, some of them were recruited as a Canadian junior champion record holder, and they were members of the Canadian junior team. Well, and this led me up to 1980, where I work. And I got this guy here with me. His name is Gaetan Boucher. Became the first Olympic athlete I work with. 1980 in Sarajevo, he won the 3 medal and the first Olympic gold medalist from Quebec. And he came from Quebec City. He moved in Montreal because I went to the Olympic in 72, and I created Montreal International Multisport Club at that time. And Gaetan was speed skating, and we had a speed skating group. And he was coached by my cousin in Quebec. And eventually he moved to Montreal to train with my team. And he became our first Olympian in 1980. And he started the trend in Quebec that if Gaetan Boucher can do it, you can do it. Yes. And then when I went back to Malaysia, it became Malaysia Bole. Yes, Malaysia can. So Malaysia if you have a dream, go for it and you can achieve it.
Yes. So we will come back to that. Because, working with athletes means you have to train them for managing loss and training them to become a winner. So tell me now, if you would share it with us, please, not just me, your aspects, on what aspects did you train them on those? Because we've been talking about loss the last week on my Facebook profile with many people giving their own wonderful inputs. And if anyone can talk about it personally, it's also you. But before that, you specialized in the most important thing, which for children, for a human being to manage is loss and become a winner in life. So please share us a little bit about that.
Well, of course, we live in a world right now that is very materialistic and it is very intellectual. The world focuses a lot on the cognitive aspect of human, and actually, we develop technology, but we don't improve humans. We have automatic car that drive for you and decide to park for you, but people are not improving their skill as a driver. So we focus on technology, artificial intelligence, and not on people. And that's why I'm going back now. Now that I am, handicapped, I had to learn to walk with prosthesis and everything. And now I can walk with my prosthesis with crouches, and I can stand on my two legs. And for me, it's good because it's like I have to relearn like a baby how to walk.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So whatever your situation, it is not dramatic. We have to adapt to situation. And if we focus on the human, we can improve. Of course, I have prosthesis, but there is electronic prosthesis who can walk for me, computerized.
Wow.
I don't want to walk because of a robot. I don't want to have an electric wheelchair. I want to walk with my own brain, with my own two legs. Even if they are metallic, it's my leg. And I have to learn to master my leg like a baby has to master his body and learn to walk. As a baby, we fell how many thousands of times, but we never gave up. We know that's what we want to achieve. We want to walk. And that's what it is. And it's always like this, a commitment. And I was lucky in my life that I read a lot of stuff about success and excellence. And I was lucky enough from the 1980s to get in touch with a lot of things. Naturally, Montreal was the hosting 1976 Olympic game. And in 1972, Montreal was sending a delegation to Munich Olympic game as we were the next city organizing the game. And I heard about it and I told myself, oh my God, I would like to be part of that team. And then I was asking people at the city of Montreal at the time where I was working part-time as a coach of kids, how can I join the delegation of Montreal to the Olympic? And my coach at the time told me, well, write to the mayor. So I wrote a 3-page letter to the mayor why I should go to the Munich Olympic game. And one day I received a phone call from the mayor's office. Michel Cagne, you've been selected. You will be joining the Montreal team going to witness and observe the Olympic game in Munich. Of course, I never took the plane. I never had a passport. And very funny, the mayor of Montreal was Mayor Jean Drapeau, who gave me my first trophy 12 years before when I was 10 years old. I don't know if you recognize me, whatever, because I was on the front page of the newspaper at that time. And so finally, my mayor sent me to the Munich. Of course, I never took the plane of my life. I didn't speak English. And I ended up in a plane with 250 Canadian and delegation of Montreal going to the Olympic game with a VIP pass, having access to all the site, all the facilities.
Wow.
So I could see Olympic champion face to face instead of watching them on a screen, on the TV screen. So finally, I was seeing what a champion looked like. And when I was walking all these training sites, and I was lucky, I watched Mark Spitt winning his 8th gold medal. I watched Olga Korbut revolutionizing gymnastics, and I watched all my hero in track and field. And I observed one thing. Oh, this is an Olympic champion. This is a world champion. I say, but in Montreal, I have a lot like this. So that's why when I came back from Munich, first thing I did, I created my club, Montreal International. And at the beginning, it was denied by the Federation of Sports. They say, who are you to pretend to create Montreal International? I say, I've been to Munich, and the kids I developed, they will go to the Olympic, and that's it. And actually, we were hosting 1976 Olympic game.
And those kids went to the Olympics. So what did you?
Well, I had one athlete at the Olympic, but I was preparing a team, and only one qualified in the high jump. But this was the start of everything. After that, I was selected by the International Athletic Federation to join them in helping developing coaches in Africa and the Caribbean island. So it has been the beginning of everything.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So what
it was
are
very
those
amazing.
aspects you trained them on? If you would share anything along that line, what was the key importance in making an athlete into a champion?
Okay, I was very interested naturally with the psychological aspect, the mindset of champion. What is it that they have special? Because physically they are just ordinary people doing ordinary things just a little bit better than the others. Because many people think champion are made of something special. No, they're just ordinary people. And that's why from where I was in Montreal, how can I take people from city of Montreal who had never achieved anything becoming Olympic champion? And you saw Gaëtan Boucher from Quebec City. And here I'll show you another picture. It's with Gaëtan. It's his team of figure skater. All these athletes with me, 8 of them, won 24 medal at the Olympic Games. And they all come from the same neighborhood in Montreal, except Gaëtan, who came from Quebec City. How come the kids going from one high school, going to one ice rink, trained by one coach, achieve so many medals? Malaysia, since the beginning of the history of the Olympic Games, never won so many medals. And this is just one club. And this club naturally transformed everything. How can these kids, ordinary kid coming from ordinary family, not rich people, not everything special, won Olympic medal? And this is what has really motivated me for so many years. How to help ordinary people achieving the extraordinary, what some people say the impossible. The impossible doesn't exist. The only thing that is possible is what you put your mind on, put your body in, you will achieve. And of course, from there, I've learned a lot of things. I met a lot of people. That's why for me, going to Munich was a door opening. I've learned a lot of stuff. I get in touch with people at the international level. With the International Athletic Federation, I traveled many countries and I met many people. And I eventually ended up in Malaysia. But one thing I've learned, and this is what I was bringing, I was teaching mental skills, and most of it coming from the concept of psychology of achievement, which was quite new. It was the beginning in the 70s of what is left brain, right brain people. Of course, I'm a left-handed by nature, so ambidextrous by nature. And of course, I had difficulty in learning at school because I was a little bit autistic, a little bit. They say today they have labeled people who have difficulty, but the brain is wired differently in a right brain person than a left brain person. So, and in sport, I was good because don't teach me skill, let me do it. Show me and I'll just copy it. So it's modeling, and it's not everyone who was like this. That's why I love when I saw Olga Korbut. I talked to Olga Korbut coach. I had the chance to work with his coach when he was in Malaysia as the national Malaysian team coach for the 1998 Commonwealth Game. So we had Olga Korbut coach. I was so admired by her as an athlete, and I had the privilege in my life to work for years with the coach of Olga Korbut. So I learned a lot of things from him. And I love to it. He was a great coach, very demanding, but he also had an understanding about children. Let them be. Stop using their body to achieve your dream. Let them be what they want to be. And this is a great lesson. Most people want to raise children, want to tell them what to do, how to do, what they should be in life. They don't realize that it's all based on who are we fundamentally. And that's why I met, in my life, some great people. And in 1984 Olympic game, I went to Eugene, Oregon, where the founder of the NLP was, and everything it was all about the neuropsychology. Some people got it in themselves. And I've learned from there the concept of habits of high achiever. So, and I will give a little bit of cultural background of it. You don't mind if I read a little bit? So, through research conducted in 1985 at Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and the University of California, I stayed at UCLA during the Olympic game, and then I met people who were involved in the study about the attitude and habit associated with high achiever. And since then, I use this concept in all the preparation of athlete that I've used and the business people I work with. So it's not only achieving goal. Now we live in a world everybody want to be rich. Since they released the film The Secret and the book The Secret, everybody think they have the recipe. So everybody talk about becoming wealthy, making money, becoming rich, and blah blah blah. But bottom line, psychology of achievement is about developing habits, and this is the fundamental of all the work I do is how to work and develop these habits in people.
So which are those, which habits would you
Yes, I can share.
highlight for
I
us?
will share, but I will not give all the detail.
Okay.
We would need about 3-4 hours for doing this.
No, just tell us a little bit of what aspects in like the titles of those, it's just the areas what you
Yeah.
touch. And anyone who is interested can, of course, contact you for that.
Definitely. So what they found out, they divided the 21 habits into 5 categories. One is mental. So naturally, high achievers, successful people have a special mindset, a special mental frame. Emotional, physical, and actually financial and spiritual. And I will start for me because the world we live in, mostly here where I am right now in Canada, it's terrible. Even our prime minister was trying to teach a lesson to the prime minister of Italy about how wrong Italy is regarding human rights.
Yeah. Well, we know that things are going very funny. We just gonna acknowledge and come back to building champions, because I'm about also all about building champions of your own self, and so you are. And so we met in Malaysia when I was working with the National Sports Institute, and so are you. And I only spent 5 years. You spent 30 years there.
Yeah.
So I when I became a coach, you were the first coach who gave me advices starting my coaching business on training humans on the mindset part. And with that, great losses can happen to people, and so this great loss happened with you, that within 1 year both of your legs were amputated due to diabetes. And so how did you get over that? So I know that a lot of our viewers are here want to know, how is it possible that you got over it so fast, and you just put everything into practice, and with the mind of a champion. How was it possible for you to get over that?
Well, I will start with my favorite habit. And actually, in the Western world, we call it the spiritual habit. Since my 30 years in Malaysia, I would say the strong belief in the invisible world. And that's what I like when I work in Malaysia. These people believe in the invisible world. Even when they go to the jungle, they ask permission to the spirit of the jungle, the little people who live in the jungle, to allow them to go in the jungle without disturbing them. And so finally, it's a pervading perspective of feeling of purpose, a normal sense of the ability to organize, create, and bring into being those things in life which seems impossible for the common man or woman. So meaning it's important to believe in a higher self. Most people don't believe in a higher self. They believe in drug, they believe in technology, they believe in money, bribing the opponent to win the race or the game. Bribing component, destroying country, like right now what's happening in the planet. And I would say, what kind of world are we living in? Because right now there's a statistic that just came in Quebec. They just realized in March and this month that something has happened, March and April. There is more and more people dying from diabetes and cancer than usually is. Because right now we live in a world that is very intellectual. Everything is based on statistics.
Yeah,
and actually, they were concerned. How come suddenly there's more people dying? And actually, we are in a post-pandemic. Should it be? The problem is for the
Yeah.
last 3 years, the whole world have been captured by that pandemic. I will
Yeah.
not make
Yeah.
an opinion on it, but
We know that, unfortunately.
few
And
people who are government people, not even doctors or medical scientists, have took control of the world. And politicians, for some reason, have endorsed all this, and I have put restriction on medical service. And by the way, why I lost my legs, naturally, the medical reason they give today was because of diabetic. The real reason was unavailability of treatment and services that could have prevented this. Because when I got my first amputation, I was in Malaysia. What happened? I had a blister on my foot, and the blister was not treated. And when I went to see a doctor, and he say, "Are you diabetic?" I say,
already
"No, not that I
escalated.
know."
Yeah.
And then he sent me to a diabetic specialist, and then they discovered, yes, I was diabetic, but I had that blister. So then they sent me to a foot specialist, and the foot specialist took sample of my foot, and he say, "Too late, you have gangrene." Gangrene? Excuse me, what the heck? For a blister
Yeah.
on the foot, gangrene. And then in the end, it was spreading. They didn't have the medication to prevent it to spread. So decision was made to amputate the left leg.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
from there, I came back to Canada because of COVID came
Passport.
out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we had a request. Canada government was closing the frontier. So they say, if you're a Canadian, come back to Canada, because by the end of a certain date, by April
Yeah. Yeah.
2020, they were closing the frontier. I could have not come back. And I had to renew my passport. And my great prime minister closed all the passport renewal office in the world. So we had to be in Canada to renew passport. So I took the plane with my son and we came back to Canada. And as we came back here, I renewed my passport. But then came the vaccination pandemic, not the COVID pandemic, the
Yeah.
vaccination.
Yeah. And then so you
And here
couldn't receive.
I was denied medical assistance because priority was given to COVID. Hospital were prioritized on COVID. If you're not a COVID patient, they put you on a waiting list. And
Yeah.
everything here is digitalized. You want services, you don't go to hospital. You have to call a government online number. Naturally, who answer you? AI.
Computer.
It's a computer
Yeah.
who answer you, and then they put you on a waiting list. I was like about 300,000 people who've been put on a waiting list, as we were considered not priority. COVID was priority, and of course, I had a
Yeah.
problem. I started having problem with my right leg, and
And it wasn't
unfortunately for
treated.
me, I could not have it, because also here the system have decided only a family doctor can get you entering in hospital. I didn't have a family doctor. I spent 30 years in Malaysia. So how can I
Yeah.
get a doctor? But because I was handicapped, I was waiting for a prosthesis, which I was on a waiting list in Quebec. No
So
personal
it's a lot
touch.
of injustice happened with you, a lot of injustice, and it's
Well, not only to me, to millions of people
many
around the world.
millions. But how did
Because,
you get over that? Because you did. A lot of people they
well,
didn't, but
first,
you
I
did.
believe in one thing, believe in the impossible. If there is a door, the Mayor Jean Drapeau told me at the time, use the window. If there is no window, break the wall. So never accept no for an answer. And so in 1980, when I was working in Montreal, I organized the public hearing for the handicapped person in the year of the handicap. And I had a lot of handicapped people that I knew from 1980. And I called one of my friends and I say, maybe you can help me. I'm amputee. I need a prosthesis, but I don't have a family doctor. So they refuse to receive me or to
Yeah.
even assess my situation. And she say, give me some time. I will look around. And after a few while, she called me back. She said, Michel, you go to this place and they will take care of you.
Good.
And then I went there because I was recommended by a person to do something. And then they took the measurement for my prosthesis.
And
Then
you
I
got it.
waited. Finally, something happened, not because of the health system, because in the health system, I was on the waiting list. By the way, we are 2023. I am still on the waiting list,
Yeah.
but I have
But
to
the
pursue it.
human to human works and worked, and it still works. And that's basically our next point to
Yeah,
touch is how to bring back, humanity and human values into this world, because the title of our talk is basically this: how to rehumanize this fake world of technology and artificial intelligence. So what is it what you are proposing, what you are about? What is your mission
Well,
to
first
bring
is to start getting people to start lobbying and pushing politicians. Can you slow down that artificial intelligence taking over humans? Let's bring back human in what is human. Even yesterday, I was at the physiotherapy center, and sitting to me was a guy waiting for also treatment, and he called the place, and he was answered by a voicemail, by a voice message.
yes,
And
yes,
of course, he started recording his request. He say, "Can I have a talk with a real human?" He was very
yes,
frustrated.
yes,
He say, "It's been the third time I call, and it's always the same. Can I talk to a real human, please? This is my phone number. I need to have something urgent right now."
yeah, yes,
And
yes,
but this is where it is right now. We are facing a world where we have decision maker, politician worldwide, or for some reason, I'm not saying they are bribe or whatever, but seems to value artificial intelligence. Like here in Quebec, that's why the statistic right now say we have very high percentage of people dying, and they say cancer and diabetes. But doctors are saying no, it's not the cancer and diabetes, it's the lack of early diagnosis and the lack of early treatment that killed them. Yes, they died
yes,
of diabetes. Like me, yes, I've been amputated, but not because of the diabetes. Now I don't have diabetes because now I'm taken care of. Now I
yes,
use the
yes,
proper
yes, yes,
medicine. I don't have diabetes now.
yeah,
I am taking care of it. But during 3 years, I was denied medical
yes,
assistance
yes,
because I was not
yes,
a COVID patient. Even
yes,
when I got my prosthesis ready, my friend, they say to have your prosthesis, you have to go to an hospital. I say, why don't I go to the center who take the
yeah,
measurement and do it? Or because governments say they cannot deliver. It
yeah,
has to be done into a government institution. I
yeah.
had to be
It's
hospitalized. So I went to an hospital recommended by them. And
very
I spent five
unfortunate,
days there in a
Michelle.
room because of COVID. I was isolated in a room. They did 3 PCR tests on me, negative. So I was not a COVID person. But one day a doctor say, okay, you have to change room. We need the bed. The bed for what? I don't know. And then they put me to a room,
Yeah,
double occupancy. But they put me with somebody who had COVID. Result, after 2 days, I was declared COVID. Not
yeah,
because of testing,
yeah,
because of close proximity. I was in a bed less than 2 meters away from my fellow friend. So
yeah,
then I became a COVID. Then I was put on a forced 10-day quarantine. And
yes.
during that time, my prosthesis came to the hospital and went to the physiotherapy room on the fourth floor. I was on the 11th floor of the hospital, but
So
they
it
could not
actually
deliver
served you
it to
because you
me.
got your prosthesis finally.
Yes, finally on the fourth floor of the hospital, but I was on the 11th floor, and they were not allowed to deliver me the prosthesis. And I was not allowed to do to the fourth floor because I was a COVID patient.
Yes, so
Even
many
if I had
crazy
no
things,
symptom,
so
no
many.
temperature, no nothing, but I was close proximity to COVID, they put me on a COVID floor.
Okay.
And after a
Mm,
while, I did for 3 days, I didn't eat. So I did like a strike of eating. As a revolt, I was totally disagree. I said, this is ridiculous. I don't have COVID. You put me in a room next to somebody to call me COVID. And the
yeah.
system
So
was
you
like this. The
basically,
computer have decided I was a COVID patient. And one day I started grumbling. I had a fight with the doctor and nurses. And one nurse told me, don't worry, sir. You don't have COVID, but the hospital have a quota fixed by the government. We are allowed that many bed COVID. And that's why
yes,
you fill
yes.
up
Very
100 quota.
unfortunate, Misha. We have to watch our time as we are passing the 30 minutes
Yes.
already. And
Yeah.
I like to come back to the training aspects because that's our core points here. That regardless of what's happening to us or what kind of an injustice, we can have our winning mindset. And you, when we initially spoke, you said it's very important that we have to detach from this body and aging, and always just to think about death. and start to think about something else, which is what was before we were born. What were we? And we were
Exactly. Well, you
infinite.
raised a very important issue. Everybody is afraid of dying, but we don't remember that what
That,
happened after you die. Everybody's concerned with it. Is there heaven? Stuff like that.
yeah.
But nobody asks the question, where were you before you were born?
Yes. Yes. So
Well,
as spiritual beings. Yes.
we come
And
from the divine. We were from the divine and we came on earth for a purpose. And this is one of the other second habit, the most important for me. Here they call it spiritual focus. Continually bringing into focus, retrieving and refining the habits of mind, body, and emotion. This is your business. This is my money, my business. What I think, I must feel, and I must do. So it's harmony. Mind, emotion, and body must be in harmony with each other. When there is disharmony, there is disease.
yes,
And of
absolutely.
course,
And
and
how do we reconnect? How do we reconnect and harmonize this? Because you told me something on our initial conversation that you don't cut the grass, and because you enjoy,
yes,
even
yes, well,
watching growing the grass and looking at the flower of the grass. So, what is it what you recommend? How should we reconnect to our spiritual being?
first, get out of your head, stop thinking. People don't realize that we think about 60 to 65,000 times a day. We have thoughts that come from nowhere. Do you think about thinking? Most people don't think about what they think.
That's the
Thinking
problem,
has been
overthinking.
overemphasized. They call it, this is what it is to be developed. That's why artificial intelligence is what? It's a thinking machine. That's just a robot, accumulate data, and based on these data,
They have no feelings.
no feeling, no emotion, no body, no connection. And that's why it's important to reflect and to focus on what might be against what were and what you are now and have been on the past. So we have to realize one thing. Let's reconnect to the divine in us. Our duty on earth is just to reconnect, to bring the divine back on earth. We are no divine anymore. We're too physical, and now we are socially
Yes.
completely disconnected with
Yeah.
these. I don't mind to make a wording. They're going to call me homophobic again. So
Yes. So
we're
don't,
disconnected.
because
We're
our
disconnected. It's
page is here
crazy.
not about that. So, but the most important that you also say that go out and be in nature, spend time in nature, because nature always have a fragrance, have sounds, have
Yes.
have something to see. You hear something, and all of a sudden you get a message, and you reconnect. How do you? Because you've been spending time in nature, and then you lived in all different cities, but now you're back in nature. How is it helping you?
Well, me, it has helped me a lot. First, I look at the season. When winter is there, there's no leaf in the trees. All the grass is frozen. There's snow everywhere. So it looks like dead. It's not dead, it is sleeping.
Sleeping, hibernating. Yes.
And of course, when spring comes, sprouts start to appear, flower appear in the trees. But now we live in a world of science. Now they say, oh, there is the pollination season. Can you imagine here? Now they start telling, oh, be careful today. There is a high pollination coming from the maple tree, high pollen coming from the spruce tree. And so now they give the pollen situation because people are so hypochondriac and they've been told, oh, you sneeze, that's because you are allergic to pollen. So now people are afraid of nature. Me, I say, no, smell it,
Smell
absorb the
it,
fragrance,
absolutely.
enjoy it, eat the flower, my friend. Now they cut
Yes.
everything. We have the first spring
I have
flower.
also my flower. I brought it for the session today.
Yeah,
Yes, that's our job to do. Be with one, and I know you love flowers also.
yeah. And
So
now I'm happy because some of my flower naturally, they are the early spring flower. Even behind me, if you see, there is a painting there. It's called crocus. Crocus is one kind of
crocus.
flower that
Yes,
appear in spring.
yes,
And they're
yes.
very beautiful. They're very yellow, but they survive only for about a week or two. After that, it's done. They have
They
done
are gone.
their life cycle.
Yes, yes. So, Michelle, we are coming to our end.
Yeah.
And as a closing message, what do you tell to coaches? There's a lot of coaches, business coaches on my page here, and a lot of normal people are here. What is it what you recommend them to rehumanize this fake world? What
I
do
would
you?
say, well, first, reconnect with your divine self. Learn how to breathe by the nose. Very simple, because we breathe 30,000 times a day. Are you conscious of 30,000 breath? Many people talk about meditation. They use mantra and all kind of techniques and everything. I say, just focus on the air that goes in your nose and go up to your sinuses, up to your forehead, and go down to your sinuses near the nose, and then slowly go down to your lung and hold your breath. People breathe too much. The real breathing should be about 6 breaths a minute. Most people
Yes,
breathe 12 to 16 a minute. They
yes,
breathe too much. They exhale too much CO2. And we live in another part of the
yes.
stupid world. CO2 is bad.
CO2.
CO2 is bad. Nature live on CO2. Trees
Yes,
live on CO2. Without CO2, tree dies. They
yes.
breathe CO2 and they give us oxygen in return. We human, we breathe oxygen and we exhale CO2. But we now will have a world that
We have
climate
to
change,
plant
climate
trees.
change. Everybody's against CO2. No, CO2 is the basis of life.
Yes, yes. We have to plant trees.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And in
Plant
the
trees
body is
and
the
grow
same.
grass.
In the body, it is the same. Me, when I went to hospital for my second amputation, because I'm part of a danger group at 70 plus. So doctor, to prevent something to happen, they gave me anticoagulation medication.
Yes,
Result, when they did the operation, the amputation, I lost 2 liters of blood. So result, I was having no red cell to carry oxygen. And of course, I was having difficulty to breathe. I tell them I'm suffocating. What do you think they did? They give me oxygen. I say, oxygen is not the problem. There is, in the air we breathe, there is 21% of oxygen. And when we exhale 16%. We only absorb 5% of the oxygen available. But here, the brain, I tell people, oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. Everybody need oxygen. No, there is plenty. The problem is the oxygen doesn't go to the blood, because the
yes,
blood exchange oxygen that it is in the lung with transfer of CO2 from the blood to the lung. If there is no CO2 in the blood, there is no oxygen that go in. And then the cells, if you exhale too much, you kick out the CO2, then there is no CO2 left to allow absorption of oxygen. So epoxy is the name of the game.
yes,
The tendency of the medical world, the rational world, oxygen, oxygen. Actually, it's a good business making oxygen for hospital.
yes, yes.
Breathing.
We back to business there.
It's business again, money, money, money. But the problem, I had a fight at the hospital. I was having difficulty to breathe. They were putting me oxygen mask. And I take out the oxygen mask. I say, I don't need your bloody oxygen. I need you to leave me alone.
Yes,
Let me
yes,
rest. Let me rest. Let me be in my parasympathetic nervous system. Let me rest and digest. Let
yes,
my body build up my CO2, and then the oxygen will get inside. But if
yes,
you constantly stress me, you make me hyperventilating, and then I have no CO2 left. So the
yes,
oxygen stay in my lung, and I just exhale oxygen. Inhale oxygen, exhale oxygen. That's not
yes.
the problem. We don't breathe with the lung, we breathe with the cell. It is
Cells.
the cell
Yes.
who
So
breathes,
that's
not the lung.
very
The lung is
important.
just a receptor. It's a bag.
Yes, yes, absolutely right, absolutely right. And it's a lot of things that we can educate our viewers here, and there's a lot of things we can say. And for me to close this, that I'm very very happy that we could meet here, because for a long time we lost connection basically, and we reconnected because I grew so much, I developed so much. On my aspects of trainings of coming into the mind to become like-minded with you, who you were back then. I caught up with you now to have a conversation like this, to help people. Yes, go out to nature. Funny, because I've been making videos in my natural office outside. That's where I go for inspiration, and just breathe, just be one with nature. Don't want to resolve, don't brainstorm, because it will not work. Be one with nature, and when you calm down and you one with nature, then you will get all the information, all the solution what you needed, and start connecting with people, start expressing your love. You want to develop your business with all sorts of technical stuff, it's not going to work. Business will remain people to people, person to person. And we have to emphasize that within us by being together, spending time in nature. And if you cannot go out, then breathe. That's the most natural thing what you can, connect. I keep saying that. And then you will know what to do, and connect with other people, and keep looking for the possibilities and the chances to express your love, to accept other people. Say good morning to them. Ask them, how are you today? And just listen to them. And I think that would be the best, because there is no loss or gain. We will all go from this world, but what we spend in between being born and dying is the most important aspect of that, which you take with you. Anything along that side you want to add, and then we close today?
Well, I like what you said. Say hello to the day, hello to the world. And I would say, if you are like me, wake up early, wake up with the birds. The birds are the first to wake up in the morning.
Yes.
If you go outside before sunrise, first the sun never rises, it's planet Earth to turn.
Yes.
So this is one of the misconceptions that we continue perpetuating, waiting for sunrise. There is no sunrise. Earth is just moving towards the sun. And the birds are the first one. They wake up when they are in the trees. And after singing in the trees, they all fly to welcome the first ray of sun when they reach Earth. So
Yes,
be like the
that's
bird,
amazing.
receive the first light of the day. And with the first light of the day, breathe. Breathe not only the air, but breathe the light. And
The
we
light,
say it's
very,
all
very true.
enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Every day is an enlightenment. Thank
Yes.
God I'm alive.
Yes,
Breathe
right.
the day, breathe the day, welcome the light, and breathe through your skin, breathe through your cell. We are 30 billion cells in the human body. So it's not my lung who breathe, it's my cells. 30 billion cells breathe in the morning. So welcome the day, welcome the sun, welcome everything. So
And it's a possibility. Welcome it. Stop, pushing it away. So thank you so much, Michel. We really overstepped our timing, but I think that was very educational and very valuable. And to hear you speaking so passionately, and what happened with you, and you still overcame through all that, and you are here as a winner. And anyone who want to go see you live in Germany in November, they can,
yeah.
and they can connect with you on
And
that
thank you
event.
remember me, because I always forgot. Oh yeah, I lost my legs. Oh my God. Oh, I lost my leg. That's
So
it. That's it.
yes,
I am not this body. I live in it.
yes,
It's a
you are.
vehicle. It's a transportation vehicle. I live in
Yes.
it, but I am not this body.
Yes, yes. So thank you, Michel, again, and thank you,
Continue the
everyone who
great
were
work.
watching.
Nice to talk to you. Stay alive.
Same here. Lots of love, everyone. I'm sending you from my heart to you all over
Thanks
the
for all
globe.
of you who are watching. Enjoy life and breathe by the nose and
Yes,
enjoy every
thank
breath. 30,000 times a day. Welcome each of them slowly, gently.
gently. Thank you, Michel.
Okay, bye. Have a great day.